diably advocatus. Okay, advocatus diably, right? Okay, so we will go in and we will take this land from the Palestinians by hook or by crook, and we will pressurize the British to give up this land. Okay, and we will conduct some bombing campaigns. I'm talking facts. This is
that's not what
these
we're
are
doing.
You're still
they're
mad.
official.
You're meant to be,
Okay.
If you were an Israeli, you
Okay,
wouldn't-
okay,
I would
okay.
never use that language.
Okay, okay. Let me be an
An
Israeli.
Israeli
Let me
would
being a
never
lying
express
Israeli
their
then.
intent
Let me
and
being
will take it by
let me
hook or by
being
crook.
let me being Mark Regev. Okay, let me pretend to be
be
Mark
an
Regev.
actor.
Although it's not a pleasant, not a pleasant.
But the work is good.
Okay, okay. So we are an oppressed people. We are an oppressed people. We have to have a homeland. We came into Palestine, and these Palestinians are just making noise. They are a bunch of violent people. They are not civilized. Okay, so we have to protect ourselves.
You're
in
sure
order.
that's how they'll express it
Yes,
themselves?
100%. Yeah, Mark
Really?
Regev has said this
But
multiple.
He's one Israeli.
But he's the spokesperson. He's the official spokesperson.
When has Mark Regev ever said
And that woman, the ambassador, Zippy.
She's never said anything
She
remotely
has
like
said
that.
she doesn't sympathize with the Palestinians at all,
So you
especially
genuinely-
those people who want to kill us. So the Palestinian wants to. This is the narrative, official narrative of the Israelis. No, it is official narrative of the Israelis that Palestinians want to kill us. We cannot give up this land. We gave the Palestinians a chance.
thing to do.
Okay, we gave.
It's not
My
difficult,
position
it's
is
very
more
easy.
difficult than his. Okay, my position is more difficult.
Can I still my own argument?
Okay,
Let him bring it up to date.
So,
We get it
so
on tape, and then you can fact
Palestinians
check and so
were
on.
given a chance to have their own homeland. Yasser Arafat refused it. Okay, he had the chance to basically have his own state, but PLO flatly refused it. We gave them a chance. They want to kill us all. We have to protect ourselves. We have to protect our children. Rockets come to us every day. Our life is very difficult. Our life is very difficult. We are innocent, civilized people living in this land as a democracy. The only democracy in the Middle East. No, this is the Israeli narrative. Okay, this is what I've heard on the news.
yes.
We are the only democracy in the Middle East. We are the only country that represents the Western civilization, and we are with the civilized world. And the Palestinians are bloodthirsty. They want to kill us all. Hamas wants to wipe us out, completely wipe us off the face of the earth. Yes, 100%. Yes, Palestine, Hamas. I said
I'm
Hamas.
tired, my brain's trying to work out which way
Okay,
around we are.
Hamas. We allowed the Palestinians to live in peace.
bloodthirsty.
We allowed
You do think they're bloodthirsty?
the Palestinians.
I may be fucking it up. Sorry, you guys carry on. Maybe I'm just
Listen how nice my thing. So Hamas is bloodthirsty. Hamas wants to wipe us out. They have this written in their manifesto in the constitution that they want to wipe out the Jewish people. Okay, Hamas are a terrorist organization.
Can you hold it for a minute?
And Palestinians are basically, we try to live with them in peace, but it's not happening. Okay, we have to protect ourselves. Okay,
Wow.
and this is we're not targeting children. We're not targeting hospitals. We are going after Hamas terrorists who are hiding in these hospitals and in these civilian buildings. They are using these children as human shields. So that's why, as an inconvenience, we have to bomb these buildings so that we can kill these Hamas terrorists because they are hiding behind these children. So this is, in a nutshell, the Israeli narrative.
And you agree with him, and that's why you think it makes sense. The Zionists,
Also, the final, in this 7th of October attack, Hamas beheaded our babies and they raped women and they committed atrocities. They killed 1,400 people. This is the Israeli narrative.
Okay, look, I've got to say, as a layman who doesn't know the history very well, I thought you did some pretty good stuff. I don't know how accurate. Can you not see that?
No, so I'm going to explain why that wasn't as good faith
Okay,
as
but
mine.
can you?
Yeah, so let me answer this.
Was there any good faith?
I think there was some good faith, but not a lot. So what you tended to see with Adnan's speech was it framed the negative sides of the Zionist argument, whereas with mine I tried to frame the positive side.
I did. Democracy, civilized, very civilized.
Allow me to speak.
Okay,
so
then
when you
you'll
use
speak.
language like bloodthirsty and it focuses on the the aggression that's coming, and a justification of Israeli aggression is what he's doing. He is trying to justify from a Zionist perspective a justification of aggression with the language he's using. Whereas with mine,
I thought I heard him say that you thought Hamas was bloodthirsty, and I think you do think Hamas is bloodthirsty.
No, he says Palestinians. He said Palestinians.
No, Hamas. I said Hamas.
He corrected himself later.
And Palestinians. Okay, challenge me on this, and I'll produce evidence from Israeli officials using the word Palestinians.
Yeah, you'll definitely be able to
Challenge me, and I'll produce it.
I don't doubt you will be able
There
to
you go.
find
So
Palestinians.
don't
The purpose of a steel man is not to find.
Yeah.
The purpose of a steel man is not to find the aspects of the society, the other side that you disagree with. So you obviously think that's a negative. Yeah, it's a negative. That was an aggressive stance that an Israeli took. That's not a positive. The purpose of a steel man is you try to frame a debate in a positive way. So I try to represent the Palestinian argument from a positive perspective. I did not focus on justifying the terrorism. I did not focus on justifying acts of barbarism or anything, which is clearly what I believe. But that's how you took the argument, because I don't think you.
Nonetheless, I think you did said some very commendable and accurate things.
So let's say
I think his ability to emphasise how
the Israelis would put their argument forward.
How
As absurd as
how Israelis felt historically depressed, how they felt they needed a homeland, how they felt that
they are the only democracy. They're the only civilized democracy.
That's not what Zionists believe.
They're the only civilized democracy in the Middle East.
Okay, so now I'm going to give you. So Zionists do not believe we were given the land. No credible.
No, they took the land.
I don't want to.
Zionists believe we took the land.
I don't want them to take blame for what I got wrong. That was my misunderstanding.
They are taking the land now. The settlers. The settlers. Come on, what do you mean, astaghfirullah? The settlers are taking the land right now. As we speak, there are settlers taking the land. Who are you talking about now?
We do agree that the United Nations has passed over 100, I think over 100 consultations.
And these
Okay, that is true.
and they don't care. They don't care because they don't care because they got all Western politicians by the balls. They got them by the balls.
We can analyse the fact. I just want to agree.
Maybe it's Epstein. Maybe it's Epstein.
Wait, the way to do things.
Maybe Epstein left behind some database.
Actually, wait. The first thing we do is we put facts on the table and we put the facts up. Then you evaluate them. I'm just saying it is a fact, isn't it, that the UN has condemned.
Can I explain something?
I just want to know if that's a fact.
Yes,
It is a fact.
Now let me
We
respond.
agree it's a fact.
What's
We
that?
all agree
The UN has
that
condemned
the UN has
Israel.
condemned
You two,
Israel.
just so you know, you two are on the same side here. So you have to play fair. You're not a neutral party. You're not
How is he not? He's stating a fact.
He believes that Israel's carrying out an apartheid. He believes that Israel is
He
an
is
aggressor.
not doing a genocide.
UN.
I believe it
There
does
are
have the
human
right
rights
to exist.
organizations
I believe
saying
it does
this.
have the right.
Which UN?
I believe it does have the
You're
right.
challenging me on that?
No, Human Rights Watch just say that.
I have very
The whole world. Hello. The whole world is against. The whole world is against you.
I know.
The whole world
It always
is
has
against
been.
you.
But thank God Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not against us. Thank God Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala returned us to our land.
So if your narrative is true, for the last 2,000 years, what was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doing with you? If your narrative is true, why was he killing you, persecuting you through Christians and Muslims? If your narrative, where was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the last 2,000 years? Suddenly he has appeared now and he's supporting a genocidal state. What kind of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is this?
You know my scripture as well as I know my scripture.
No, you don't
The scripture
know.
is we were
You're making claims that are false. Allah is not with you. Allah is not. You are truly unfortunate that you're doing these crimes. Allah is not with the criminal. Allah is not. Even crimes. Even crimes. Allah is not with the criminals.
Anyway, just come back to what we say. So the reason
Allah does not love the oppressors. The Quran says Allah does not love oppression.
The last 10 minutes have been much better.
Yes.
I think that the viewer has been much better.
Yeah. Absolutely, I agree.
The United Nations is a democracy of dictatorships. The UN Human Rights Commission is headed by countries like Iran. Like all of us would agree that Iran is not the beacon of human rights.
How many members are there in the UN?
No, in the Human Rights Council.
Okay, let me say something. Iran is 1 million times better as a country, as a state, as much as I don't like Iran. I don't like Iran. But Iran, in comparison to Israel, has never killed innocent civilians.
Iran has never killed innocent civilians.
Wait. Iran has never attacked another country, to my knowledge, apart from Syria and these. Iraq.
We're on the UN 100. We're on the UN 100 issue.
Iran.
You've all agreed it's a fact. Joseph seems to be arguing that the UN is fundamentally misguided or corrupted.
No, can I explain? So the United Nations, how the United Nations work, is it's basically a democratic process, but the entities within it are not necessarily democratic. So nobody would look at a nation state like let's say they are a democracy, a functioning democracy. And so what happens is nations vote on United Nations resolutions in accordance to their nation's foreign policy. Now, State of Israel is one tiny state, and there's a lot of nations that don't want it to exist, and they don't like it. And some of those nations have serious weight. Israel has one ally really in the United Nations, which is America, which will veto a lot of the Security Council resolutions. Basically, have General Assembly resolutions. So the reason that if you look at conflicts in the world, you would expect, and this is the point, you would expect the UN resolutions to fall roughly in line with like actual things like death tolls, levels of oppression. Now, if you add all the United Nations resolutions up in the world that they've ever issued, and then for the rest of the world of Israel, they've issued more resolutions against Israel than all the rest of the world.
Rightly so. Rightly so.
Let me finish.
Why not?
Now, if you look at Iraq in Syria, if you look at Syria, yeah, you're so neutral.
He's right. He's right.
Allow me to finish, and then you can argue with me, Mr. Neutral.
I'm not completely.
I know that.
I'm trying to be
So now allow me
objective.
So you be objective with this. In Syria, 500,000 people to 1 million people were killed by ISIS. ISIS, by every measure,
1 million people killed by ISIS.
500,000.
Hold on. As evil as they were, as evil.
Listen to
Don't.
before you start defending Daesh. Listen to what I said.
Defending. I said, as evil as they are, they haven't killed 1 million people.
Get back to the UN. Get back to the UN.
I said 500,000 to 1 million people in Syria were killed in the Syrian conflict. Now, Adnan's going to debate against this, fine. And everyone can Google and look at the research. It's 500,000 and 1 million in Syria, 1 million in Iraq. You look at things like
Israel can give you 1,000 as well.
Good for him. You shouldn't
So just because Bashar al-Assad killed people, Israel can also do it.
We'll get there when you get there.
conversation. You can respond once I finish my point. That's how it works.
Okay.
So if you look at,
I'm putting my gloves on.
you look at all the conflicts in the world, which have millions of people killed, like around the world, from Nigeria to Kenya to Sudan, Somalia. All of these conflicts were millions, some of the worst genocides humanity has ever experienced.
UN hasn't.
And listen, all of those conflicts added together, there were more resolutions issued against Israel where the death toll, even if you were to go with the most, I don't know how to phrase it, because it's not the most, the highest estimates, would still number less than 100,000 casualties on both sides. Yeah? And so you have more resolutions issued against the Jewish state than all of those other genocides and wars combined.
And what inference are you drawing from that?
I'm saying that the reason the United Nations issues resolutions based on nations' foreign policies, and there are many Arab nations and Muslim nations that are opposed to Israel, which have huge influence within the United Nations, and that is why in the last year, maybe 150,000 people, certainly since the beginning of the conflict, 150,000 people have been killed in Yemen. And in this conflict in Israel, even if you use Hamas's numbers, it's only 14,000. Yet Yemen's barely been mentioned at the United Nations, and Israel is mentioned every single day. They've got a special commission just for Israel.
You're not using a two wrongs to make a right argument.
No, I'm saying there's a bias within the United Nations.
As a layman, it sounds to me like you're saying that because the United Nations have been lax in their condemnation of Yemen, it follows that their condemnation of Israel is
No,
invalid.
I have a response to all of it. I have a response to all of it.
Okay, maybe
So
I'm not.
what he's saying is that there is an overwhelming opposition against Israel because of the Arab states and the influence of the United Nations. That may be so. That may be so. But can that may be so. But having said that, can United Nations just make up evidence against Israel? Can they? Yeah, they potentially can. But have they, is the question. No, they haven't. Every time they condemned Israel, it is based upon evidence, solid evidence against illegal settlements, against apartheid treatment of the Palestinians, against the concentration camp in Gaza, against all the evil actions of the state of Israel. Okay, so it is all evidence. So Joseph has no defense against the state of Israel, because the whole world, he can say, oh, we are alone, we were oppressed, God is with us, we will overcome all these obstacles, we will fight the world, we will destroy the world in the process if we have to. This is the argument is there. But if Joseph had any sense, and people like him in Israel, if they had any sense, they would listen to the world, that why is the world against us? Or why are we against the world? Where are we going with this genocide? Are we going to kill all Palestinians? Or are we going to stop this at one point? What are we trying to do? We have bought all the politicians. We have bought all the media houses. We have influenced all these people. Still it's not happening. Still it's not happening. Still the world is against us. How far do we want to go with this?
Can you help me out? I'm genuinely confused. Maybe people watching are confused. I had honestly thought I could trust the UN. Maybe I'm naive. So I thought when they pass 100 sanctions against Israel, they have a point, and then they only implement about 6 of them in terms of sanctions or whatever.
They can't do anything. They're powerless because the US vetoes every
because of
action.
The US. So as a layman, I got the impression that the UN is
France and Britain as well,
prejudiced in favour of Israel, largely because America will veto what happens there. Which doesn't speak well to that the UN is prejudiced in favour of Israel.
The UN is not prejudiced.
No, it's not. It's not. We're not saying that. UN cannot. No, what I'm saying is UN cannot take action against Israel because the US vetoes every single motion. So if there's a motion against Israel to take action, to impose sanctions, to stop them, to take political action against them, the US vetoes, and France and Britain.
I get it. So let me run by my understanding. So, although they make 100 condemnations they make 100 condemnations. I'm trying to learn. I thought I knew this. And now I'm thinking maybe I don't know this. I thought they made 100 condemnations, but then they only implemented sanctions or whatever in response to very few of them. So that speaks that they're not willing to actually deliver on the
UN is not going to do anything. I'm telling you right now, the UN is not going to do anything. If they wanted to do something, it's been 70 years. It's been 70 years since the Israelis have been brutalizing the Palestinian people. The whole world knows this. Everyone knows this. The solution is with the Israeli people themselves. Sincerely I believe, Israeli people will rise against their own government and they will change things because they know we cannot go on. There are intellectuals in Israel. There are scholars, there are philosophers, there are thinkers, there are sincere people in there. There are noble and moral people in there.
They disagree with you.
So they are Israelis, they are Jewish, but they are not Zionist. Many of them. I can name them. They are going to become so influential that they will change, they will remove Muppets and jokers and clowns like Netanyahu and his cronies, these right-wing, hateful, racist, apartheid-driven genocidal criminals. They will have to go because they are criminals. And Joseph, I hope we live to see this, both of us. We will get old if we don't die before that. Me and Joseph, we have known each other. I hope we will live to see this change in our lifetime. Inshallah, Israel will change. Things will change. The Jewish people will live in the land of Israel or in the land of Palestine. In the land of Palestine, I must say, as they have for the last 1,000 years under the rule of Islam. Under the rule of Islam, they will live again. So and for details, I invite you to watch my podcast with Muhammad Hijab.
I will, because I'm really impressed that you participated.
Muhammad Hijab I did a podcast with him where I presented the evidence from Jewish sources as to how they felt under the rule of Islam. I put out plenty of evidence from primary and secondary.
When would this be?
It's already done.
No, when in history were they under?
I presented evidence for 1,000 years. From Jewish rabbis, from Jewish travelers, from Jewish thinkers and scholars who lived under the domain of Islam, and secondary sources. I presented primary sources, and then I presented secondary sources from modern. Go and watch this podcast with Muhammad Hijab and see the case we the Muslims have for the Jewish people. So this is not about the Jewish people.
I will, because you still manned. I will.
Then what I will do, I would encourage you to not watch Adnan Rashid talk about Jews, but speak to Jews from Muslim countries and ask them. So
this is a good question to ask. If you were going to recommend, if you were going to recommend to me as a layman one podcast to watch to learn the history, what can I watch on YouTube?
Watch an Israeli spokesperson.
No, he's not.
I want to hear both stories. Who are the best sources to go to?
Yeah, but that's a book. Okay,
I'm not much of a reader.
Listen, I'll tell you to watch. Watch. I'll tell you. He can't tell you. Watch Netanyahu with Jordan Peterson.
I did.
Okay, watch that podcast and watch my podcast with Muhammad Hijab, and then you decide.
Thank you.
You decide.
If you can recommend any podcast, I'll watch it.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen,
Adnan just spoke.
You've got a channel.
No, I have to go now. Joseph, thank you very much. I hope you wake up. I hope one day you look at your children and start feeling sympathy for the Palestinian children as well. Thank you very much. Bye now.
Adnan, cheers. Thank you so much. You guys can shake hands.
No, I don't. Not after this. Not after this. Seriously, shaking hands with him means shaking hands with Netanyahu. Netanyahu. I would never do that. Sorry.
You did a good thing.
No, I appreciate his time, but him standing there with this t-shirt, this sweatshirt. Okay. I mean, when Palestinian children are being killed in thousands, come on, man. Come on, this is unbelievable.
You did a good thing.